Hey YouTube, Kier Twig here, bringing you guys my Amorphage deck profile for November 2016. This is a pretty interesting deck. I worked on it a while back. Didn't have all the support for the deck at the time, but finally gathered it all up, and I figured it's been a good while since the last update. I bring you guys a deck profile, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, the whole point of the Amorphage deck is to lock down your opponent. So, start off, I run 3 Amorphage Sloth. Now, this number is subject to change. I do like it just because he's kind of the easy powerhouse to get out of the deck. All of the Amorphage monsters have restriction effects for their pendulum skills, and Sloths is, while you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand, except by drawing them, and once per turn during your standby phase, tribute one monster or destroy this card. So, all the Amorphage monsters share this ability. I like running 3 Sloth. Yes, he is kind of a big monster. I run him mostly for his pendulum scale, since he is impossible to get out with the scales you control in the deck by pendulum summoning, but with his no add effect, it's basically like a spell card mistake, limiting your opponent from drawing or adding cards to their hand. Since they can only get them by drawing them, that means no searches with this card. And also run 3 Lechery. While you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can activate spell cards and their effects except for Amorphage cards, and once per turn during your standby phase, tribute one monster or destroy this card. So this one stops your opponents from using spell cards, and their monster effects are all pretty similar. Sloth's effect is neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck except Amorphage monsters, so he is just a generic, no special summon. But the lower level ones, like Lechery, if this card is pendulum summon or flip face up, neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck while this card is face up on the field, except Amorphage monsters. So the other ones have to be pendulum summon or flip face up, which is not too difficult to do. You can either flip or, like I said, pendulum summon them back. Sloth and Lechery, though, are impossible to do pendulum summon since the scales are 3 through 5, so you rely on them more for their pendulum scale effects than actual monster swarm on the field. For that, you use cards like the level 4s, which are Amorphage Wrath, which you run 3 of. While you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can tribute monsters except Amorphage, and it has the same tribute or destroy this card effect. So the whole point of the lockdown is to get a lockdown combo that you are most comfortable with to stop your opponent. You have 2 cards in the scales, and then a stop special summon effect on the field. He's also good heavy hitter, 1650, and with a level 4 scale, you'll always be able to get him out from the extra deck. Same with Amorphage Envy. I run 3 of this. While you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can activate cards or effects as Chain Link 2 or higher. So once per turn during your standby phase, it has the same effect and the same monster effect as well. So stopping chain links with this monster, and it's also got a good defense, so it can be flipped face up very easily by being attacked into. If it's not destroyed, you can just pendulum summon it back next turn again, get the same effect off. It's very, annoying for your opponent to be able to lock them out of the extra deck for special summons, and that's basically what the whole point of this deck is, and then pick the 2 combos you want from the scales and lock them out of that as well. I also run 3 Pride with this one. While you control another Amorphage monster, neither player takes any effect damage. So the thing, I might be actually bumping this one down to 2, just because effect damage isn't as, a problem as some of the other effects. And if I were, I would probably bump up Greed. Whoops. And also Gluttony wants to make an appearance, but I'll bump up Greed to 3, but we'll get to that one in a second. I like Pride, though. He's got more higher attack than some of the other ones do. The scale 3, I like, varying combo ratios for the scales just so I have an equal amount. But it also is another level 4, which makes it easy just to get back out on the field. So using it for its neither player can special summon effect for the monster zone still makes it a good add in my book. I also have 2 Greed, but like I said, if you want, you can bump it up to 3, take out the 1 Pride. While you control an Amorphage monster, neither player can activate trap cards or their effects except for the Amorphage cards, and once per turn during your standby, it has the destruction effect. Now, traps are a little more, useful. I know people use spell cards more in decks, which makes Lechery more useful, but having this, since it's also level 4, means you can get this guy out, stop the trap cards from activating. So if you Pendulum Summon with this one, you can stop trap hole cards when you attack, Mirror Force cards are locked down, which makes this one probably a more viable approach at 3. And I also run 2 Gluttony. While you control an Amorphage monster, monsters cannot activate their effects except for Amorphage monsters. So a more useful one in the sense. The only reason I don't too care for this one, the monster effect lockdown is nice, but it is level 2, so it is also one of the ones that you can't get back from the extra deck. It might be one that I would take out a Sloth for. If you don't like running 3 Sloth just for draw restrictions, drop it down to 2 and put in 3 Gluttony. But with my playstyle, I do like the 2, the monster effect lockdown, keep it in the scale. This is one I do go for the most in the deck. And I also run 1 Amorphage Goliath. While you control an Amorphage monster, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, except for Amorphage cards, and the monster effect is neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck except Amorphage monsters. So I only run 1 Goliath just because it is kind of difficult to get out. The scales, no way to Pendulum Summon it. You need at least 2 tributes for this guy, unless you use other methods. And the banish effect, it's a good macro, but it doesn't affect too many decks. It doesn't shut down monster effects, spells, or traps like the other ones do, so having it at 1 is fine in my opinion. And that's it for monsters. We're going for a pure build mostly. I know some people like to use the Draco Slayer just for a little more consistency push with the tuner, but Igniter you can't really get out since the effect is neither player can special except for Amorphage monsters. But other than that, we'll move on to spells. I run 3 Draco Connection. Reveal 1 Dragon-type monster in your hand to add 1 Dragon-type monster with the same level from your deck to your hand. Then shuffle the revealed monster into the deck. So Draco Connection adds some consistency to the deck, so you can grab what Amorphage monster you want for the situation. Depending on the opponent you play, you might not need the specific one at the time, but the one that you search for will definitely help better off. I also run 3 Amorphage Infection. All Amorphage monsters on the field gain 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. If a monster in your hand or you control is tributed or destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add 1 Amorphage card from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. So Infection helps so you don't run out of your resources to save your Pendulum Scales, and if you have to end up destroying them, you can search out a new monster to use. And it also gives you a good power boost, which can help to get over some annoying monsters your opponent control. And I also run 2 Amorphage Persona. All Amorphage monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense, up to twice per turn. If an Amorphage monster you control is tributed, draw 1 card. You can banish this card from your graveyard to tribute Pendulum monsters from your hand or field, whose total level equals 8, and then ritual summon 1 Amorphage, the Immigration Dracoverlord from your hand. So I don't run the Dracoverlord monster, but if I did, I would probably run it at a 1, and if anything, take out probably either Goliath or, like I said, Lechery, dropping it down to 1. But it's basically a combo play because with all the different varieties, it makes it very easy to get out the ritual monster. So you can go 6 and 2, 8, 4 and 4. You have options, or you can go for the full tribute to get it out, and that'll completely lock down your opponent. But the Persona effect is still good for the draw and the power. And along with that, I run 1 Terraforming. Basically just to search it out. I like running the 2 of it than the 1 Terra, just so I can mill through the deck a little faster. And that's it for spells. We'll move on to traps. I run 3 Amorphage Lysis. All monsters on the field except Amorphage monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. If a card in your Pendulum Zone is destroyed except during the damage step, you can place 1 Amorphage Pendulum monster from your deck into your Pendulum Zone. You can only use this effect once per turn. So like I said, the main thing of the deck is to have Amorphage cards in your Pendulum Zone, and all the spells and traps just help with that consistency so you always get what you need for those situations. And I also run 3 Pendulum Reborn. You special summon 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck or 1 Pendulum monster from your graveyard. So if Sloth or any of the other ones, Lechery, get in your extra deck, this is your best way to get them back out onto the field, or the easiest way. So if you get Sloth destroyed by a card effect, and he's in the extra deck, Pendulum Reborn can get him actually out onto the field, and then you have his effect to sit on. And I also run 3 Rivalry of Warlords. Now this card really I like in the deck. All the Amorphage monsters are Dragon Earth, so you don't have to worry about sending any of them to the graveyard, since you all share the same type of monster for that. And your opponent really has to think of their plays if they're running a wide variety deck with this card in it. And I also run 1 Solemn Warning just for extra back row protection, along with 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy. The Amorphage deck is definitely one that can be tested with. Numbers of monsters can be shifted around to your own liking, and just basically having a comfortable monster setup can vary between the players depending on who plays the deck. But I hope you all enjoyed the deck profile. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.